today. Hope you guys are all doing well. Hope you had a restful weekend. Sorry, just getting comfortable as much as you can. Hope you're doing your best to clear your energy, stay in your energetic bubble, staying centered, doing your own healing work, whatever's showing up for you. The world has a lot of healing going on right now, but that doesn't take away from whatever you're supposed to be doing, whatever you're supposed to be manifesting, bringing into your life, whatever you're supposed to be healing, all that kind of stuff. So don't let those things kind of be an excuse to distract yourself from the own inner work that you need to be doing. Just my 2 cents. All right, let's do a card reading. So go ahead and ask yourself a question. I'm going to pull, we're using these energy cards today. And just ask yourself a question. I'm going to pick 2 cards. You're going to decide before I pick them if your answer is going to be answered through card number 1 or card number 2. You can also choose both cards. It's okay. No rules, just no cheating. That's the only rule. All right, guys. Let's go ahead and close your eyes. Whew. Card number 1. Angel of Balance. See that? We got the pyramids, we got the moon, we got angel, we got a lot going on here. So this card is, of course, about finding center. It's funny because that's how I started this conversation. Finding balance, finding center. So whatever it is that you're asking about, like before you even try to find a solution or before you even try to find an answer for it, what are you doing to center and balance yourself? So what are those things, those practices that bring you back to yourself, right? So for me, it's going for like a long run or a long walk early in the morning and just being able to come back to myself. So what are those practices for you? Bring that into your life first and then start thinking about this question that you're asking about. So that's what this is. This is also a card of the connection. We have the pyramids here in the back and that kind of inner portal. So making sure that you are spending time trying to connect to your higher self and noticing that right now you may be really plugged into outside noise, into outside sensory, and doing your best to bring yourself, because your inner self, your higher self knows the answer to what you're asking. And that's why they're not trying to be assholes and tell you like, oh, we're not going to help you out here. They're just letting you know that like, you know the answer. It's just that you have to come back into yourself. So really, we also have like the moon going on here, which is, emotions and all those things. So making sure that we're moving that out, that we're coming within ourselves, and that we're finding a balance. Finding a balance between being involved in the healing that is the greater consciousness healing. So like what's happening on a worldwide scale, or if you're in the U.S. on a country scale, and like kind of being that, but also balancing it by coming within yourself. Cleaning, shifting, centering, all that kind of stuff. I'm trying to think if there's anything else we want to say about this. It's also just a reminder that like it's not all darkness and not everything has to be learned through the darkness, that a lot can be learned through the light. So that means that like you can learn a lot of lessons and you can do a lot of cool work by just tapping into light source, so into joy and happiness and all those kind of things. So you don't have to get all your answers from like this dark place, which a lot of us do, and there's a lot of course a lot of lessons in the contrast, but you can also find a lot of that healing through light and happiness and joy and laughter and community and all the happy stuff, all the light stuff. So making sure that you're balancing yourself out and making sure that like, sure, you're doing some shadow work, maybe you're doing some deep work, but that doesn't take away from the fact that like you can't learn it from the light work. And that you can't tap into that. So That's what this card is about. All right, card number 2. All tied up. This is always a funny card. Okay. So this is, about controlling the situation, feeling very, like that there is no other option, so I'm like kind of, I'm tied up in this one position and I don't see the other opportunities that exist. So this is like, a little bit of narrow thinking, thinking that there's like only one way to solve this problem, or I'm only seeing it through one perspective. So this card is asking us to release our attachment. So just kind of let go for a second, step back, take an observing role, and just be like, okay, like maybe what are some other ways to do this? What are some other options? And just be not attached to what you think the solutions are or what you think the outcomes are. Because you may not even be thinking of solutions, you may be thinking of like scary outcomes. And like, different paths or whatever. And they're saying like, let go of those, because even though you may not want some sort of scary outcome, you're actually attached to that scary outcome. So just really being like, well, what if that wasn't the only way that this can pan out? What if that wasn't the only option? Like, let me step back and let me see like what are other ways, and I'm going to really release my attachment to these outcomes. So that's the first thing about this card. This card is also about feeling like a victim, or like imprisoned by something, like really feeling like I have no choice in this matter. So, and that's never true. We always have a choice, even if the choices aren't like that great. Being in a shitty job, or, in a shitty relationship or whatever, we are not like imprisoned to that. There's other choices. And sometimes, like we don't want to see the other choices because we don't want to realize that we're actually scared and that we don't have the courage to make these other choices. But actually seeing that you're not making certain choices makes you feel more empowered. So I encourage you to see the other choices in this scenario, right? So you may, let's say you're at a shitty job that you don't want to be at, and you're like, this is like my only option right now because, blah, blah, blah is happening and there's no jobs for me, whatever it may be. But, know that even where it feels like there is no choice, you do have a choice, and you're making a choice. You're making a choice to stay. Despite, like that there's other choices. You can, not have a job, you can, go broke, or like whatever it may be. But, and I know that that's maybe not a choice you want to make, of course, but even seeing that you're choosing to not make that choice releases a lot of that victimhood and feeling that like you have no control and you have no power. So take a moment to look at the different choices you have in this scenario. And maybe you might decide like, oh, maybe I'll take that other choice. Maybe that might happen. Or at least you're just going to start to feel that like you do have power and you do have control in this scenario, and that you're choosing to do it this way. And then once you come to terms with that and you embrace that, then you're going to start to see other options, other opportunities. It'll be like step 2 will be creating the strength for other things. So it's the first step is really seeing that you have choice. Even if it doesn't feel that way, look at the other choices. Okay. So those, got heavy stuff this time today, guys. So I don't really like these cards because they're actually very heavy, but they were really calling me this morning. So I was like, all right, fine, we'll do some heavy work today. So yeah, thanks. It can't always be fluffy, guys. So thanks so much for being here. Thanks for showing up and doing the work, and and being here with me. So I appreciate it, and I'll see you the rest of the week.